welcome back to WIUR Gales Radio. My name is James Melvin, and I'm the host of Melvin Media Madness. We are back for another semester of this show. First of all, welcome back to everyone back to campus. It was a awful, rainy, cold, sad day, but thankfully it was so cold and so sad that they ended up delaying school. So I hope everyone got to sleep in, and I hope everyone got to enjoy a bit of rest right before the coveted weekend. I've never looked forward to a Friday more than I am this Friday. I'm ready for this week to be over. I'm ready to kick back and relax. I am not ready for school to be back in session. Classes are here. I am not for it. Not that I don't like any of my classes in particular, but I'm over school, everything, work. But how are you all doing today? Hope everyone's doing fine. First and foremost, a big shout out to all of our shows that got their first official kickoff show this week. We have officially, we're coming to the end of our first week of WIUR in the spring semester. So, yeah, hear it up. It's for everyone. Although it is bittersweet, while it is nice, it's kind of like some shows' last episode. I know the Five Hole Pod, they got a little emotional about it. It'll be sad to see Nico and all them go. And same with me. This will be it. I'm out after this. I'm free. I've done my time. I've put in my service. My work is done. So I'm excited to start up the show again. Um, and I'm excited to be here with everyone back at WIUR. I'm excited for all the shows. We have a big lineup in our weekly lineup. We have considerably more shows this semester than we did last semester. And that has partially to do with a lot of people coming back. So if you are a returning show from WIUR, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for sticking with us and sticking with the club. This wouldn't be a radio station without the people in it that come in and actually produce the shows. So, big thank you from everyone on the executive board, and a big thank you to everyone that is taking the initiative of starting a brand new show. We have a lot of first time shows coming on. So, I'm really excited about it. Big lineup, new Big Friday lineup, which is really nice. We have for the most part shows going from like, I don't know, super early to super late. So make sure to tune into them. It's a new Friday block that we've been working on. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm just excited to be back. I'm really happy with how this show went last semester. And I'm going to be excited to see how it goes this semester. I'm setting two big goals now before I get into it. Number one, don't want to just talk about news because honestly, sometimes the news gets really sad and I end up just getting agitated, and the show just turns into me speaking nonsense for like 30 odd minutes. And then there's like a solid 10 to 15 minutes of actual news coverage. So I want to broaden my horizons and look past just doing news and look at some things that actually bring me joy in my life. I think that'll be really good just for me as a person, and hopefully you enjoy it as well. And number two, this is a big one. Instead of this show just being me sitting here talking, I'm actually going to do research. Yes, big deal. I'm going to do some real, actual investigative journalism for this show. I'm not just no more. I've graduated past just reading headlines to people and trying to make them feel invested about current events that go on in the world. And instead, I'm working on something. I've been planning. I have my show notes. I'm not going to get too deep into it now, just because it's in its final stages. So stick with the show, and you will actually see me do real work for this show, and not just come on and talk about the things that I hate that are going on in the world. I'm going to talk about well, I'm still going to talk about the things that I hate in the world, but I'm also going to bring up solutions. I'm going to actually speak to people that know what they're talking about. I have that all lined up. Um, so some big topics we're going to cover next week. NYC congestion pricing. That's been the biggest topic, sort of locally, just because we are streaming from New Rochelle, which is in the New York area. New York City has kind of rolled out its congestion pricing. At this point, it's old news, but it'll be good to see reaction to it. When it first hit, I think it was just a solid, like, I got to pay for stuff. But now that it's in full effect, we'll look into if it's actually going to alleviate some of the problems that it was looking for. Um, and if it's gonna seem like a worthwhile solution, if they're thinking about from what I've seen, like I said, it's old news at this point, so it's not too big in the headlines, but the reason for the NYC congestion pricing was to basically disincentivize people from using their personal vehicles on the roads of New York City, to alleviate the traffic burden that exists, and also to sort of force people economically in order to start utilizing public transit, with the promise that the majority of the funding that comes from these, basically like taxes to use the road, but they're tolls, would go into bolstering the subway system, giving it much needed love and improvements. It has been a long battle for NYC. This is like a decades old thing. I'm from Connecticut, so since I was a kid, there's always been talk about putting tolls on very public, not public roads, because they're all public roads, on roads that are used very often, to not only alleviate some type of traffic burden, but to take advantage of the fact that people are using publicly funded roads, and to try and bring some new revenue and apply it to places that need it. And I think NYC's whole mission for this and the MTA has been that the goal is that the funds are going to be used to invest back into the subway system. So instead of just having me talk about it, I'm going to find real people that know things about the economy that can give us some much needed clarence, some much needed information on the topic. Speaking of people getting taxed for things that they used all the time, this has been very recent and in the news is tariffs. Donald Trump's tariff plan went into effect. It lasted all of like I don't know, like a couple hours, and then it immediately got stalled. He asked China and he asked Mexico and he asked Canada for basically same thing, reinvestments into border security, and in exchange he would push back doing the tariffs. And as of now, Canada has decided it is going to continue with its plan to reinvest into the northern border, and Mexico has agreed that they will continue to reinvest into the southern border so long as the United States does something to address the weapons that are coming into Mexico. So we won't get too deep into it in terms of if it's working or not. It's not really happening. Like I said, there was a general like pause on it. So we'll have to see where that goes. But again, that's another one. I have some people in mind to actually reach out to and do some hard hitting journalism. It's 2025. It has been an explosion of news these past couple months. I've been foaming at the mouth with my NPR podcasts, my Apple News with Shmita Basu. It's been crazy. There's so much news. So we're going to try and take it piece by piece as we do, go over some of the big topics, but also keep it local and talk some things that have been going on in New Rochelle. Hopefully, some things that are going on in Connecticut. I've been keeping up with my WFSB, and we can potentially, I don't know, just sit around, have fun, talk about things that are going on, and enjoy life as it needs. And like I said, hopefully this show will evolve into more than just me kind of sitting here and ranting about how I hate everything in the world all the time. So that's a bit of a sneak peek for next week. Um there's there's a lot going on in terms of global politics, national politics, local news. It's going crazy personally. one of the biggest things I saw was entertainment company Rooster Teeth was recently purchased by Bernie Burns. He got most of the social media back, and I think a lot of just the branding logos. It's such a weird kind of nitpick, but I was a big fan of Rooster Teeth growing up. They sold to Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers shut them down. Rooster Teeth was just an entertainment company. If you ever saw Red versus Blue, Ruby, they're the people behind those shows that have been going for a really long time. They shut down a couple months ago at this point, but potentially might have a comeback. Bernie Burns releasing a press statement. He was one of the original founders of Rooster Teeth, and he says that he wants to reinvest time, commitment, and community back into a company that he spent a lot of time, commitment, and energy into. So it's crazy. We're in 2025, decided, you know what? I think I am going to be the craziest year of them all. So I'm really excited for it. But I'm more excited to share a lot of these memories and to share a lot of these topics with you guys, the listeners of WIUR. Again, from the very bottom of my heart, whether you are a show producer, whether you are just an avid listener, or somewhere in between, thank you so much for all of the support that we got last semester. We have a lot coming up this semester. I think it's going to be bigger and better than it was last year. So I appreciate your ongoing support. And I'm going to keep it brief today because you know what? Everyone deserves a weekend ahead of time. So enough of me rambling. Yeah, we're going to basically head off there. So I've been James Melvin with WIUR Gales Radio, and I will see you all in the next show.